This is The Bottom Line. The Bottom Line on 938 Live.
Now, a leading indicator for Singapore's manufacturing sector has continued on an expansionary path in November. The Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, posted a reading of 51.8. That's a marginal dip of 0.1 point over the previous month. Still, it's a reading above 50, which signals expansion in the sector. For an analysis on this as well as other macroeconomic factors, we have on the line with us Edward Lee. He is Regional Head of Research at Standard Chartered. Now, Edward, November's manufacturing PMI data held on to an expansion. What are the, attributing factors?
Hi. Yes, indeed, the PMI numbers remain above 50, and if we take a look at the overall print certainly looking better than the electronics index itself. Now, if we take a look at the components, I think the key components such as new orders, production, employment remain above 50, so suggesting continued expansion in our manufacturing sector, while for the electronics index, key components are above 50 as well, although the new export orders did fall below 50, so a bit more volatile in our electronics sector sub-index. Now, if you take a look at our manufacturing sector, in terms of sector-wise, I think you can see sectors such as biomedical, chemicals, precision engineering still expanding in the first 10 months of this year. So I think despite the gloom, we are still having some slight expansion with our manufacturing sector.
Okay, I just want to go back to the electronics sector for a while. Although it's expanded at 50.9, there was a drop of 1.9 points from the previous month. Any worries about this sector?
No, that's right. So indeed, it slowed down. I think if you compare the PMI electronics on the year-on-year basis, it's going into contraction. So I think this sector is currently still going through some slowdown for Singapore, and of course, I think there's also some restructuring as we try to realign our cost base and our economic structure. So I think for this sector, possibly we need to get onto the sector that's growing within electronics, which is largely communications. There's really three large C's in the electronic sector's world, and communications is the one that's really growing, right? I mean, when was the last time you changed your iPad versus when was the last time you changed your desktop?
Sure.
I think that's a very good question. And if you take a look at some other countries such as Taiwan, where they are in that space, they're actually doing quite well on the electronics front.
Okay, now across the region, Asia's factories appeared to have stepped down a gear last month as a glut of supply met a dearth of global demand. Is this a blip?
Well, I think it's not just last month. I'll say it's more of a case of the whole year where it has been patchy. So by patchy, I mean things some months may be better, some months may be weaker. So there isn't a strong trend really emerging. We take a look at our major economies such as the US. It's doing better, but it's not really recovering at a fast pace. And China, we know, is rebalancing, so it's slightly slowing down. Europe, the investment demand is not really coming back. The animal spirits is lacking there. So I suspect this could continue a bit more until one of the major economies provide a stronger trend.
Okay, very quickly, we can't leave you without talking about oil prices. That's trading at $70 dollars a barrel. How much of an impact will it have on the manufacturing sector in Singapore?
Indeed. I think it's a mixed bag there. I think certainly in terms of direct impact, you have a negative more effect in terms of our petrochemical and chemical sector, given the demand there is clearly lacking. But I say it's a mixed bag. I think one thing we have to take note that is quite different from 2008 and 2009 when oil prices really collapsed as well, right? This time around, the sell-off is really more confined within the commodity space, suggesting that the global economy is not in that bad a situation. And with such lower global oil prices, it's actually it's actually somewhat helpful for global demand, which will provide some support eventually.
Okay, thank you very much. Edward Lee, Regional Head of Research at Standard Chartered on The Bottom Line. And The Bottom Line is brought to you by Turkish Airlines, Europe's best airline.